Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Hump Day, everyone. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. The previous session with a fairly solid reaction off the previous week's lows, a really big rotation to the upside. Finished the day with a wick reversal outside day. And also you can see the green coloration here, a green G-squat as well. And that is the sign of a very strong day one rejection. If we go back in the chart back this way, you'll see many of the days that we've had this year after pullbacks have had some of these G-squats here and there and here after these pullbacks. And those have led to quite a bit of strength afterwards. So when you tend to see one of these types of bars after a pullback here, it can tend to lead to 1 to 3 weeks of strength up ahead. It can tend to at least lead to 1 to 5 days of a continuation higher after a bar of that nature. The big deal here is that you want to see price continue to hold on a daily closing basis above the midpoint of the rejection day. That's 5,900. And at the moment, of course, we have a narrow range heading into the RTH Open, 30% of ADR, just 20 points of range, and the market could be in a holding pattern, sideways with an upward bias after yesterday's strong low, as the market awaits NVIDIA earnings today. NVIDIA earnings comes out post-market, as does Palo Alto Networks, Target, and others, and that could provide a boost here for these markets. So we could be looking at range-bound price action here at the moment. Intraday, we're seeing a little bit of an expanding intraday range, fade new highs, fade new lows with an upward bias. If we did see a rotation as deep as 59, it could be a buying opportunity for a continuation to the upside. Most of the day's range could be in the final hour of the day, perhaps again, especially tech-wise, with NVIDIA's earnings here, we could see quite a bit of strength late in the day. But until then, range bound with an upward bias. Any pullback, bulls want to defend into morning weakness for a shot of a continuation to the upside. Looking at the NQ, similar price action out of the NQ here. We finished the session here with also a green G-squat here as well. Outside day, wick reversal, strong reversal off the day's lows. And today, 28% of ADR, just 93 points of range. Very clear range-bound price action. A bit of an expanding intraday range as well, as it hovers around intraday VWAP, which is flat. And when that happens, you want to fade new highs, fade new lows with an upward bias right now. Upward bias because we have a day one rejection on the low. If you bring this back again, there are many times where you see on the pullbacks here, you'll get a G-squat type of bar and continue this thing up. This one right here really opened things up here recently. The YM also has a ton of those as well. So this could provide, at the very least, a rotation back toward recent highs. And at the most, it could be a pivot low for a year-end rally. So continuing to watch this this rotation here off the recent lows, and the midpoint will be very important. 587, 20,587. Just call it 20,006. Any pullback into that zone, bulls want to defend over the next 1 to 3 days for a continuation to the upside. All right, looking at crude oil. Crude here, this one rotated off the 67s here recently and is holding in a narrow range over the last couple of days off those levels. This one, again, continues to see an aggressive reaction off 67s, but the upward rotations have been very modest at best. It just can't really get going to the upside. Once it does get higher, you see a couple of days here that just really brings it down over and over again. So we could be looking at something of that nature here soon. We do have crude oil inventories here later on this morning. Any failure at 69 here could open up another flush type of day. But for the most part, flowing quietly higher towards 70. 70 has been a big time level here. And at some point, the selling could begin. Again, this market has been in a seasonal downtrend pattern. right now, which usually lasts into the middle of December, and any kind of strength could still be seen as a selling opportunity until proven otherwise. Looking at gold futures, gold up right now nearly 0.4%. This one has had a great rotation off the recent lows as well. Nice little continuation over the last couple of days. Pullback here holding the 8-period average, which it crossed above just yesterday, and that could continue to extend things a little bit higher. Again, we mentioned at the very least we could be looking at a push back to break even for the quarter, which is that blue dotted line, previous quarter's close, and even as high as 2680, which is the next highest market structure level, to retest it from below. So right now it's definitely flowing higher. 2620 is going to be a key level intraday there. Any failure there, and that could cause a little bit of a counter trend rotation. All right, taking a look now at the YM. YM did not finish as strong as the ES and the NQ. RTY also finished very strong with the G squat as well. The YM did not. YM had a nice, decent high range day. Not quite a 125% day, but it had a decent enough range day. Closed the day way close to the midpoint of the session, but still put in a decent pivot low at 43,000. So right now, inside day, narrow range right now, 30% of ADR. So all of these markets are limping into the RTH Open with 30% of average range as they await NVIDIA earnings. But if you look back here again, the YM has probably been the best one at putting in some of these strong pivot G-squat lows over and over again throughout the year. Started the year here as well. Did not put one in this time around, but again, on a pullback here, that reaction off the lows could still provide a little bit of a bump to the upside. So right now, ES and Q much stronger from that perspective. This one here needs above the 43.6 in order to open up a continuation to the upside. Any pullback this morning, bulls still want to keep bid. Range bound with an upward bias, fade new highs, fade new lows, especially with an upward bias here as this market looks to tack on gains after yesterday's strong lows. Looking at Bitcoin, Bitcoin up 1.8% today and hitting all-time highs. Today it hit 95,000. 95,070 is the all-time high. It just hit that here minutes ago. New highs here ever since this thing broke out. No pullback. No pullback at all. It is basically sideways to up. If it does put a strong low in, it's to set a little bit of a range. There's no conventional pullback here like we've seen here recently. It's just stretch, stretch, stretch. New highs, new highs, new highs, and higher lows. And we could be looking at 100K by the end of the week, the way this thing is going. It's been averaging about 4,000 points per day, 4,500 points per day on a 10-day, 4,100 points on a 5-day basis. And a lot of overlap on these days, but we could be looking at a stretch that takes us higher toward 100K very shortly, very shortly. Again, as I mentioned before, any pullback, even if it's a pullback next month, could still be a buying opportunity for a continuation toward 120,000 up above. Looking at ETH, ETH marginally higher right now. This thing has pulled back and holding at the moment. We mentioned before that if we got as low as 2,900 or maybe even 2,800, that could provide a tremendous buying opportunity for a continuation to the upside. At the moment, just kind of stuck in the range here between 28 and 34. Upward bias still in play. And this impulse move, while we haven't gotten a midpoint retest for a key range, it's still a very, very good impulse move that projects 4,300 to the upside up ahead. So again, narrow range right now. Any pullback could still be a buying opportunity for a continuation to 4,000 and 4,300 up above. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out here heading into NVIDIA earnings later on this afternoon. Everyone have a great morning, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.